Father Verb, one of the most influential and controversial figures of our time. The Harbinger had even published the first page in color in his honor, years before he had received the Nobel Prize for, I don't remember what reason. Then he disappeared from the scene. Apparently he had recently decided to return with a book attacking the project Alternative Sentence, launched by the United Nations a few years earlier. I didn't know much about it, but I suspected that soon everybody would be talking about it.
Alternative. Mhm. Der Harbinger ist dem mysteriösen ausführenden Produzenten auf der Spur. Seit einigen Monaten verfolgen wir die Geschichte eines erfolgreichen, aber unbekannten Produzenten und wir haben uns nun entschlossen, die wenigen verfügbaren Informationen mit ihnen zu teilen. Vor ein paar Monaten tauchten Adam angeblich sein Name, aber vermutlich ein falscher aus dem Nichts auf und fing an, Projekte zu finanzieren, die nur einen gemeinsamen Nenner hatten. Sie wurden alle zu großen Hits und brachten ihm die prestigeträchtige Auszeichnung ausführender Produzent des Jahres ein, die von den Lesern unserer Unterhaltungsbeilage gewählt wurde. Bislang waren alle Versuche, ihn ausfindig zu machen, vergeblich. Damit reiht sich Adam in die wachsende Gruppe anonymer Persönlichkeiten ein, die die Zeitungsseiten dominieren. Von der Schriftstellerin Elena Ferrante bis zu renommierten Künstler Bundy. Ja, wenn der ÖPNV funktioniert, ist es auch super. Aber wie gesagt, wir haben hier nicht so den ÖPNV. Und der ÖPNV selber braucht ja allein auch schon fast eine Dreiviertelstunde, um durch die Stadt zu kommen, aufgrund dieser unterschiedlichen Haltestopps. Also der wäre da, der würde stündlich fahren, zumindest hier vom Dorf aus, im Gänsefüßchen. Aber ganz ehrlich, ich brauche zur Arbeit jetzt, gut, früher war kein Vergleich, da hätte ich gerade mal 5 Minuten gebraucht, aber ich brauche jetzt 35 Minuten. Das ist so ungefähr der Schnitt. Da mache ich mich nicht kaputt bei oder ähnliches. Und ich sag mal so Pi mal Daumen, 25 Minuten brauche ich mit dem Auto. Für fast dieselbe Strecke. Also mit dem Fahrrad bist du natürlich bei einigen Winkeln eben halt schneller vorbei, ne? Musst weniger warten an Ampeln. Und diese 10 Minuten ersparen mir weitaus mehr Ärger, ein paar Kosten. Also Auto ist ja trotzdem da oder wie auch immer, aber du musst halt nicht fahren. Derzeitig sind wir halt nur auf ein Fahrzeug eingeschossen, weil ich ja meins abgeben musste, arbeitsbedingt. Und dementsprechend ist sowieso das Gewollte zurückstecken. Da fahre ich nämlich Fahrrad und dann hat meine bessere Hälfte das Auto, wenn sie es braucht, ne? Weil sie ja noch zu Hause ist. Noch ein paar Tage. Also das ist einfach auch ein Arrangieren mit den täglichen Dingen, die so stattfinden. Haben wir noch irgendwas hier? Hier haben wir noch einen Leitartikel, Klappentext haben wir. Okay, hier ist nichts weiter drin. So, was wollen wir gucken? Rollwagen, ist da was drin?
I didn't want anything from the trolley.
Okay, da ist nichts drin. Guck mal, da unten ist der Router fürs Internet. Können wir... Geht hier noch?
I learned everything I could from the TV. Now I had to investigate in person.
Ich dachte, heute gibt es auch noch mal irgendwie was zu gucken. Aber nun gut. Pinnwand, ist da was Neues dran?
Nothing to hang at the moment. There was nothing interesting among the items already posted.
So, mal schauen, ob unser Teddy noch da ist. Ja, er ist noch da.
Bobby was down there for a reason. To remove it only.
Okay, das hatten wir schon. Er ist da aus einem Grund. Ist noch irgendwas im Nachttisch
on the nightstand was a photo of my parents on holiday in Greece. Inside it was mainly my underwear. And I didn't have to change them yet. There was still time before the weekend.
Okay, das habe ich jetzt nicht gehört. Da haben wir nichts weiter. Vielleicht ist noch was in der Bar, aber ansonsten hauen wir ja einfach ab, ne?
I didn't want anything from the bar. I barely drink, especially when I was working on a case.
Mhm. So, okay, was sagt denn unser... Sagt nichts, also gehen wir einfach los. Achso, bevor wir gehen, speichere ich einfach mal ab, wa? Ja, speichern geht schnell, finde ich gut.
I had to go to Mulzberg's mansion as soon as possible. To do that, I faced 2 problems. I had to convince Seamus Burton to give me access to the crime scene and recover the keys that kept Green Dart imprisoned, which I accidentally dropped in the sewer. It would also be useful to visit the alley again, where, just a few hours before, I received the challenge. In the daylight, some new clue might emerge.
Okay. Und neuer Hinweis auf der Karte. Was ist im Briefkasten?
I was sure I would find only bills and late payment warnings. Sometimes it's better not to know, so I didn't open it.
Neue Punkte. Wir können zur Gasse. Pass mal auf, wir versuchen erstmal in den Kanalschacht zu gehen.
Maybe I could retrieve the key to the lock by regretfully climbing down into the sewers. Lifting the manhole cover with my bare hands was an undertaking beyond my physical abilities.
Okay, wir brauchen also was zum Hebeln. Ich frage ihn erstmal, ob er was zum Hebeln hat. Hier müssen wir uns merken, er hat einen Marker.
Hey, Willow. I need permission to enter, Willow.
The HPD is not open to civilian. You should know that full well. But if you need to press charges, let me know.
I came to visit Seamus, Willow. Is it necessary to be part of the CIA to see him?
Curious that you mentioned the CIA.
Oh, God. Let's just do this old school. You scratch my back, and I scratch yours. Deal?
Actually, there is one thing an ignorant peasant like you could do for me. Do you see that red sports car?
It's impossible not to see that fireball.
A fireball parked for 3 days in a spot reserved for a public official, namely me. I tried to have it towed, but they just ignored me.
I can't imagine why, but okay. I'll make that car disappear sooner than you can formulate another conspiracy theory.
If you need technical support, let me know.
I'll go check if the package I've been waiting on for 3.5 months has arrived.
Okay, darf ich rein? Ich gehe rein.
To enter the building, you needed a specific pass that the camera would check before opening the door. Willow was the one responsible for distributing the entry passes.
Okay, wir müssen den Wagen wegparken.
Some men are able to move a car with their bare hands, as if it were a toy. I was never one of them.
Okay, also kommen wir hier erstmal nicht weiter. Wir brauchen irgendwas, um das Auto zu bewegen. So, was sagt unser Notizbuch? Ich muss Burton überreden, mich in die Ermittlung einzubeziehen. Um ins HPD zu kommen, muss der rote Sportwagen verschwinden. Es ist gut, dass er so einen Sub-Infos dazu packt. Wenn ich mich in der Stadt frei bewegen will, muss ich den Schlüssel zur Green Dart aus der Kanalisation holen. Werkzeug.
Maybe in there I'd have found something that might have helped me get rid of the illegal Parker.
Hey, you! What are you trying to do?
I was checking that all tools are in compliance with the security regulations for roadworks.
Are you a trade unionist?
No, I'm just a citizen who values the safety of our good masons risking their lives every day.
If you really care about your health, leave those tools alone.
She was planning to commit to film every detail that might be worth showing to her relatives. That fountain was horrible. I didn't know why she took pictures of it so earnestly. I had nothing else to say to that fake Frenchman. I had nothing else to ask him.
Wir können hier nichts nehmen.
Putting it in my pocket was out of the question. I'd have sullied my amazing coat. If needed, I could have used it on the spot.
Wir könnten Farbe aufs Auto streuen, dann ist er nicht mehr rot, hä?
I thought it was better to look for... The magnet wasn't strong enough to attract the tools.
Ist nicht stark genug, aber das könnte in die Richtung gehen.
I was all out of ideas.
Okay, dann gucken wir mal. Also wir haben auch keine Möglichkeit...
If I wanted to gain access to the HPD, the roadster would have to disappear from that parking spot.
Tja, wie einfach könnten wir das machen? Wir könnten den anzünden.
No matter how hard I tried, I couldn't see a good reason to do that. It was green dart, my customized mountain bike. At the moment, it was still chained to that streetlight. Hey, Willow. I'll go check the level of the sea's saltiness to verify it's up to code.
So, er lässt uns nicht das Werkzeug nehmen. Können wir mit ihm irgendwas machen?
I was happy to get rid of that magazine, and I wanted things to stay that way.
Ja, viel mehr könnten das Rad benutzen. Ich glaube, es würde auch an vielen Stellen entspannter gehen und man nutzt halt das
was
Auto.
everywhere, constantly reminding me of the thrashing I suffered.
Und man nutzt halt das Auto dann, wenn es notwendig oder sinnvoll ist. Zum Beispiel halt, wenn man ein paar mehr Sachen als die Radtaschen beinhalten könnten, einkaufen muss.
An inviting toolbox, stuffed with the lights of 1,000 uses.
Wie kriegen wir ihn abgelenkt? Ich glaube, wir müssen ihn ablenken.
I was all out of ideas. I only had a game. The one with the snake that has to eat the dots all scattered all over the screen. I was complete rubbish at video games. By that time, they were all using those instant messaging programs. Therefore, my message box was constantly empty. I wondered what my mother was doing at that precise moment. It had been years since we last spoke. Anyway, I had other things to worry about. I'd rather talk to him in person. Just having to talk to him in person from time to time was enough. Besides, my phone calls with Wheelo lasted 20 seconds at most. Then he hung up. Anti-interception measures, he said.
Okay. Also wir haben nicht viele Möglichkeiten in unserem Handy hier. Aber was machen wir jetzt hier mit dem?
The Mason was building a wall in a cross-section of the HPD station. He had a remarkable mustache. She was planning to commit to film every detail that might be worth showing to her relatives. That fountain was horrible. I didn't know why she took pictures of it so earnestly.
Plakat können wir auch nicht abmachen.
Bullets in Love, the box office smash hit movie of the recent months. The classic predictable thriller where at the end the killer turns out to be, spoiler alert, the main character.
Und Scully, können wir den Marker nicht mitnehmen? Das wäre super.
Hey, Wheelo, do you mind if I borrow this marker for a while?
What do you have to do?
I can use it to get rid of your illegal Parker.
All right, go ahead and take it. I prefer the old methods anyway.
I will never understand why you keep using quills instead of normal ballpoint pens.
Pens contain microchip for satellite tracking. Didn't you know that?
So, wir haben Stift.
I would have surely forced the coroner to move it away, but I would have exposed myself too directly. What I needed was a more cunning and indirect approach. No matter how hard I tried, I couldn't see a good reason to do that.
Indirect approach.
I was all out of ideas. Maybe, or maybe not. No matter how hard I tried, I was all out of. I thought it was better to. I was all out of ideas. Maybe, or maybe not. Maybe. I didn't understand how that could possibly help me. I didn't understand. Once my colleagues drew a fake mustache on me with one of these. I had to go to work like that for a month before it faded away.
Oh, warte mal. Können wir aber nicht auf uns selber wirken.
I thought it was better to look for another solution. Better think about it. In that moment, it didn't. No matter how hard I tried, I couldn't.
Man kann einen gefälschten Schnurrbart.
Something more specific. I was all out of ideas. Hey, Wheelo. I'll go check that traffic light to be sure it's coordinated with the next one.
Wir können in die anderen Gebiete können wir nämlich noch nicht hin, weil aus Gründen. Da kommen wir nicht rein.
In that moment, I didn't understand how that could possibly help me.
Schade ist, dass wir nicht uns selber einen Schnurrbart
I
machen
thought it was
können.
better to look for another solution. I thought it was better to look... I was all out of ideas. Maybe? I didn't understand. I thought it was better to look for... I had nothing else to ask him. I was happy to get rid of that magazine, and I wanted things to stay that way.
Irgendwie... Ah, warte mal. Halt.
I was all out of ideas.
Ah, schade.
Ramos was everywhere, constantly reminding me of the thrashing I suffered.
Hätten wir da ein falsches Schnurrbart aufmalen können, ne? Mehr können wir ja auch nicht machen.
I didn't understand. I thought it was better to look for another.
Könnte fast so aussehen wie hier auf dem
She
Foto.
was planning to commit to film every detail that might be worth showing to her relatives. That fountain was horrible. I didn't know why she took pictures of it so earnestly.
Ein bisschen mehr Hinweis wäre nicht schlecht. Ich meine, wir haben zwar das hier. So, wir müssen den roten Sportwagen verschwinden lassen. Um den roten Sportwagen zu verschwinden zu lassen, haben wir möglicherweise den Marker.
The mason was building a wall in a cross-section of the HPD station. He had a remarkable mustache. I thought it was better to look for another solution. I thought it was better.
Ich probiere mal kurz hier.
I thought it was. I thought it was.
Ich weiß nämlich aktuell nicht, was ich machen soll. So drauf malen dürfen wir nicht.
It would have surely forced what I needed was a more cunning.
Alternativ könnte man natürlich den Hydranten aufschrauben, aber...
Was it really worth it?
Hat jemand eine Idee? Bevor ich mich hier noch ewig im Kreis bewege. Ich komme ja auch nicht weg. Ich habe jetzt nur die beiden Screens und kann wahrscheinlich...
So long as the mason was alert and careful, I wasn't going to be able to take anything from there.
Warte mal, schöne weiße
I
Backsteinmauer.
consider myself a bad boy exactly for these kinds of ideas.
Ah.
Hey, boss. Some punk must have targeted your amazing brick wall.
Aha.
There it was. The kleptomaniac's heaven. Found an adjustable wrench. A worn out but still usable mallet. And a brand new measuring tape.
Sehr gut. Wir machen aber jetzt nicht das hier, ne?
It would have surely forced the coroner to move it away, but I would have exposed myself too directly. What I needed was a more cunning and indirect approach.
Ah, ich weiß schon, was wir indirekt machen. Wir nehmen jetzt die Zange und machen den
If the
Hydrant auf.
parking culprit lived nearby as I suspected, he would certainly witness the disaster that was about to befall his roadster. I let the water pressure do the rest. Now, it would just be a matter of time. place is all yours, Willow.
Und es ist alle. Kommt kein Wasser mehr. Und die Autos fahren. Wer ist das?
Lazarus Bundy. What a chance encounter.
And things go from bad to worse. Man, I didn't realize how dirty Green Dart was. I really need to deal with something else right now. Come back later, okay?
Information can't wait. But above all, it's the American people who can't wait. They deserve to know. And right now, they are crying out to hear what law enforcement is doing to protect the great country which is America. In particular, what Lazarus Bundy is doing to prevent a dangerous criminal from continuing to slaughter innocent people.
Well, I could tell you about how my brain practically spilled out of my ears from the beating I took just to save a girl. But then your article would read, Detective Bundy loses brain and culprit.
That means you had some gray matter left when you let the metro artist and the nightclub gigolo slip through your fingers?
Is giving nicknames to criminals the best you can do, apart from appearing just when something goes wrong?
Gotcha. You're admitting the last case went wrong. Rumor has it that this umpteenth failure was also your last failure, Bundy. Rumor is that Seamus Burton refused to have your back after Blowtorch, the monster that shook Miami, escaped capture.
Rumor is also that a certain detective could sue a certain imposter for slander.
Do you want to stand against the freedom of the press? I have the people on my side.
Are you talking
Oh,
about
Fox
those morons
News.
that read your sensationalist and defamatory stuff?
Very well. The Red Scarf Detective insults honest citizens.
Why am I still talking to you?
Because I'm about to give you a loophole out of this spiral of failure. In 2 days, I'll be shooting a special in front of Ramos's house. A program in which I'll reveal all the info I have on live television, whether provided by official sources or not.
And I should be that official source, I suppose. You know, I think I'll respectfully decline your proposal.
I got wind that the detective in charge of the case had voluntarily let David Ramos get away. According to a credible witness who wished to remain anonymous for safety reasons, there could be a history of corruption behind this.
I've never accepted a bribe in my entire life, Brad. You know that full well.
That is your truth. Do you think it's intriguing enough to become the preferred truth of the people?
Ich sag
The
ja
ball
Fox
is in
News.
your court, Bundy. It's up to you to decide whether to shoot it or pass. Bye-bye.
So that harpy had chosen her scapegoat to sacrifice to the national press. What was I supposed to do at that point? Would I go back where it all started, or would I let them tear me apart without even trying to defend myself?
Hey, Lars. Was Gwendolyn Pratt the woman you were talking to?
What? Don't be silly. You know Pratt avoids me like a plague. Never mind that. What do you have to say about my parking job?
Yes, an impressive performance. Although I'd have done it faster.
Stop wearing out my eardrums and grant me permission. This is my modified temporary pass. I was sure I lost it years ago.
I kept it as a symbol of your egocentrism. You're the first and only one to ever insist on having his photo on a temporary pass.
Ramos, immortalized from his best side.
Wer bist du?
I'd never seen that girl before then. Evidently, she had replaced Burton's old secretary, who recently retired. The change hadn't been unfavorable. Hey there.
Good morning. What can I do for you?
How formal. In this office, the air is already stuffy, despite the windows being open.
You are right. This is an office, sir. Therefore, there's a standard we must adhere to, and I can't afford to make mistakes.
First day of work, huh?
First day of internship, actually.
Terrifying. Once I did an internship at a post office, and I was forced to lick stamps for 3 months.
Eee.
Eventually, I acquired the ability to climb walls with my tongue.
That's not my case. This is exactly the place I'd like to be.
Are you kidding me?
The mystery-filled atmosphere, the walls soaked with a strong sense of justice, The excitement of not knowing what your next case will be.
Or if you'll be able to pay the monthly rent?
That is really not uncertain. This is an unpaid internship.
Na toll.
I feel you, sister. Now, can you let Burton know that I'd like to talk to him?
I can try, but I don't think the inspector will be receptive right now. Whom do I have to introduce?
What? Don't you recognize me? I'm the one and the only incomparable Lazarus Bundy!
You are Lazarus Bundy? They called you the mutt at the academy.
Hey, if I get my hands on the ones calling me names...
They meant that when you take a case, you grab onto it like a dog with a bone and don't give up until it's stripped clean.
Oh, well, in that case, I cannot disagree.
I'll promptly announce you, Mr. Bundy. I'm sure Inspector Burton will be happy to receive you.
Oder auch nicht.
Mr. Burton? Detective Bundy is here asking to meet with you. Can I let him in, sir?
Bundy, you said? Let him through.
All right, sir. You can go in, Mr. Bundy.
Thanks a lot, Miss... what's your name?
Alice. Alice Sharp, sir.
Alice. Nice name.
Who the F?
Oh, Alice.
Yes, Mr. Bundy?
Please drop the formality and call me Lars. I'm not your superior.
Okay, Lars.